Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Tuesday, May 7th. The Jaguars NFL draft class ranked 9th best on NFL.com. There's been a lot of negativity in the media about the Jaguars lately. Their draft, the way they support Trevor Lawrence. Even saw a Pro Football Network suggest they could draft a quarterback in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft. Absolutely wild times, wild thoughts out there on the internet about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I wanted to highlight some positive Jaguars draft chatter. Again, from NFL.com. We're going to dive into it here on this one. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear, or become a channel member right here on YouTube. Really helps support what we're doing here. So, Nick Shook of NFL.com ranked the Jaguars draft class, like I said, 9th in the NFL in 2024. Pretty darn good for a team, that has been above 500 the last two seasons, has a lot of talent at a lot of spots, already has the quarterback in place. And look, I do think Trent Baalke did a good job here overall. In the 2024 offseason, when it comes to free agency, talent acquisition, the draft, and that's after what I thought was a very poor 2023 offseason for the Jaguars. And I was on record saying I don't think the Jaguars did enough in 2023, especially from a depth perspective. And that bore its fruits, unfortunately, when the Jaguars were one of the most injured teams in the NFL. So let's take a look at what Nick Shook had to say about the Jaguars draft, which he ranked 9th in the NFL this year. Said the Jaguars nailed their first round pick, drafting a replacement for the departed Calvin Ridley after trading down. It's truly a luxury and a bit of a savvy positional navigation to be able to snag your ideal fit in the starting lineup while also adding future picks. It's also nice to bolster your defensive line after spending big money on trusted starter Josh Allen, which is exactly what GM Trent Baalke did with his selections of Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson, his second and third LSU products taken in the draft. Jarian Jones will fill a similar role in the secondary as a rotational depth defender, while Javon Foster can get his feet wet before potentially being asked to man a starting spot in the future. I'm interested to see if Keelan Robinson can push Dearness Johnson and Tank Bigsby for a roster spot this summer. If he cracks the final 53, that could prove to be a wisely spent fifth-round pick. Baalke also set up a fun kicker battle for training camp, pitting Cam Little against veteran Riley Patterson, who returned to Jacksonville this offseason after spending 2023 with both Cleveland and Detroit. So yeah, as Shook mentions, the Jaguars nailed the first round. Trading down for Brian Thomas Jr. was awesome. It really was. Like, that is so heady by him. And Trent Baalke, he's done it 2 years in a row in the first round now. Trading down. Trading down twice, landing Anton Harrison, who I had as a top 10 prospect. And then, again, trading down this year for Brian Thomas Jr., landing 3 draft picks in the process, 2 of which will be in the 2025 NFL draft. A third and fourth round pick. That's big time value. And you land Brian Thomas Jr., 6'3", 210-pound receiver, long arms and crazy vertical, 4.33 40-yard dash. Lots of potential. 21 years old. So yeah, Trent Baalke did absolutely nail the first round. And you heard a lot of that following the first round of the draft. Night one of the draft is the first round. You did see a lot of people talking about how they were really pleased with the way Trent Baalke kind of navigated the draft. And I'm talking about national media types, trading down, landing those draft picks, and landing Brian Thomas Jr. On the reverse side of that, folks who follow draft capital value closely really kind of slammed the Vikings for that trade up. Obviously, they gave up a ton to get up to 23. They gave up 2 second-round picks to get to 23. And then they give up a third, a fourth, and a fifth to get from 23 to 17. So the Vikings essentially gave up 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a fifth-round pick to get to 17, taking Dallas Turner, which is a great fit. Like, I have to give them credit for the fit there, but that is a boatload of draft capital, right? So yeah, I think the Jaguars had a fantastic first round. And then, are Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson bad players? Are they not going to be positive impacts for the Jaguars? I don't think that's the case. Smith, if you've watched my video on him, he does have insane upside. But I also think that there's a baseline level of play that he can bring you with the fact that he does have great length, great strength, great athleticism, and has a budding skill set. Like you saw development in 2023, despite coming off of the knee injury. I think he's still putting it all together, but I think at worst you're getting a rotational player there, rotational 3-tech pass rush type, and then Jordan Jefferson, he's a decent rotational nose tackle. And the thing about this draft, after they took a receiver in the first round, I don't think that the Jaguars looked around and said, if we draft this player in the second round, they're going to be a starter for us right now and long term. I don't think they saw that. And so I can kind of understand the idea of going and getting depth that you like throughout this draft class. Like, where were you going to find a starter? Maybe at the cornerback spot, but the Jaguars feel good about Ronald Darby. And Ronald Darby's been good when healthy, right? So I can kind of understand the direction the Jaguars went with drafting rotational players throughout this class, because this is a team that didn't have holes to fill in the starting lineup. I still think they could have upgraded cornerback a little bit better than they did, but I love the two guys they drafted, Jarian Jones and DeAndre Prince. They were really good value picks, right? I think they were. Getting Jarian Jones in the third round, getting DeAndre Prince in the fifth round, two guys that will create competition and depth. They have great speed. They have great instincts. They play aggressively. I think they play exactly the way Ryan Nielsen wants these defenders to play. And then Javon Foster, as he mentions, was a great pick. A really good pick. A guy who I said yesterday in my evaluation of him for y'all, I honestly believe if he was like 21 or 22 and not 24, he would have been an easy day 2 pick. Because the tape is good. He has good short area explosiveness. He has good length. So yeah, I think Javon Foster was a really good pick. I think he's going to provide depth at offensive tackle. I don't know this, and we haven't seen it, but he looks like a player who could move inside and also contribute as a swing player at 4 spots potentially, right? Everywhere except for center. I think a lot of folks slammed the Keelan Robinson pick. This is kind of the first positive talk I've heard about it. I think it's an exciting one. Like, go watch that man with the ball in his hands and tell me he's not a fun football player. And yeah, the Jaguars, you're going to have 2 kick returners out on the field now. Keelan Robinson can be a good kick returner. He was in college. And I think someone who you can get the football to, get him some touches in some creative ways and pick up some chunk yardage. And yeah, Cam Little versus Riley Patterson, that should be good. I personally think they're hoping Cam Little is the guy because they spent a 6th-round pick on him. But, Riley Patterson has proven that he can be an accurate kicker as well in this league. So yeah, I like what the Jaguars did this offseason. And I just wanted to share with y'all that there are some people that see the vision out here. There are some folks that kind of understand what Trent Baalke was trying to do this offseason, what the Jaguars were trying to do. Again, I think they had a very good offseason. They upgraded their defensive coaching in a big way. Ryan Nielsen is going to hold this team accountable on the defensive side of the ball. I think that they're going to be more well prepared week in and week out. They're going to be more aggressive. They're not going to blitz more, but they're going to play more aggressive. They're going to play downhill, right? They upgraded the trenches on both sides of the ball. They added critical depth and competition in a lot of spots: quarterback, running back, offensive line, defensive line, cornerback, safety. I mean, you look throughout this roster. I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis, they're going to lead to more verticality in this offense, more space for Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. I really think they are. So I think this is still a playoff team. I think they would have been a playoff team last year had they had a little bit better depth in certain spots. This is an offseason worth getting excited about, and this is a draft class worth getting excited about if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. There's been so much negativity, and that can be good, right? Generally speaking, when the Jaguars have a talented football team and the media doesn't respect it, that's when you see the best results in Jacksonville. Like when the media is all over the Jaguars saying they're going to be a great football team, usually something goes wrong. Obviously, that needs to be corrected in the future. But when they have talent, which they absolutely do, throughout this roster, and they're disrespected by the media, that's usually when you see the Jaguars at their very best. We'll see how it plays out this year, but I think it's definitely an offseason that y'all can get fired up about. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. If you enjoy the content here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out ginjag.com/shop, pick up some Duval gear, or become a channel member here. Access some cool perks on YouTube, some discounts at ginjag.com. Really appreciate y'all. Have a good one.